Oh, it's been a little bit, just a little bit since we listened to Frank Zappa, and it is time to get back. Let's dive in with the first track here, Big Swifty, which is hilarious. I just hit my light as well. I didn't mean to do that. Anyways, I hope that you guys are having a lovely day today. Like I said, we're listening to the first track off of Waka Jawaka, or Waka Jawaka. I'm going with Waka. We're gonna put a open A on that. Waka Jawaka. Released 1972. This is his fourth solo album, and 15th album, counting the work with his band, the Mothers of Invention. Well, they're listening to this track because it had been suggested by at least All Day Adventures, Egapinala, C. Payne, Internut, John P., David Oliveris, I think you mentioned this, maybe? John Anderson of Yes, Sam Marsh, and Dracus Records. So thank you guys so much for the recommendation. And I know for a fact other people have recommended the album itself, but I'm just searching specifically in the keyword area for this song. And these are the names that popped up. Anyways, I got to tell you, the name, Big Swifty, kind of funny. Not sure what to expect. I believe this is instrumental because as I'm looking around, I can't find lyrics, so I'm just going in with the assumption that it's instrumental. And besides that, let's go ahead and dive on in. Let's go ahead and enjoy the song. We'll talk about it a little bit after. Big Swifty, 17 minutes. Sit down, grab us something to sip on. I got a little tea right here. Yummy. All right, here we go. It's going to be one of those tracks. Hold on. We're not even a minute in. They haven't wasted any time. Synths. And all the sounds happening here. This is very like abstract psychedelic. And the tempo keeps changing with just the light drums. You know, I like how it started off very chaotic and brought it all down. piece, and it's still a very dynamic atmosphere behind the solo. Like, listen to the drumming alone. Vibrato in the back. The drumming is really cool. It's like loose but tight at the same time. I can't help but pay attention to that. I love the drumming. Always playing with the tempo back there. I feel like it's heating up just a little bit, right? Space given. Basically just Zappa soloing with the trumpet and the sax. This whole thing just sounds like a mind fuzz. It's so fuzzy, right? It's a fuzzy jam. Stick action. Especially the way Zappa's playing now, it's like they're aiming towards something. They're working towards something. way all the musicians play around each other, it changes so organically and so almost unnoticeably as they're playing. Very nice. Tension. Who's on the side? Tap. Goes back and forth. It's like something coming from the depths. That was rewarding. I like those long notes. I think that's maybe on a slide guitar. Right there. This is actually a very chill psychedelic song, like at this particular point. Like, right? It's kind of chill. That pattern, that specific pattern the drums just led into. Straight groove, kind of. Never mind. Such an exercise. This is a workout. I like how Zappa's playing that melody and keeps on filling it with extra stuff in there. stepped into a very catchy melody here. Drums have just been riding steady. The unison for the horns on this melody is so interesting. It's like so perfect how they line up and hit unison harmonies. Chill song. So much background action happening. Who's doing that? Is that... Big Swifty. What can we say about Big Swifty? You know what I thought was really cool? 17-minute track. Frank Zappa. I'm like, okay. Okay. An instrumental. And when it first began, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Genuinely. The first, I don't know, minute or so is just like unabashedly progressive, experimental. Let's throw I don't know. To me, it was just complicated. And I just wasn't sure how I was going to get through it. I was like, I can't follow anything. Every time I catch a beat, it goes on to another groove and it changes. And it was already starting off in this weird time signature I couldn't catch. Sounded cool, but there's no way I could catch anything that was happening in the first minute or so. Then, the song or the track basically just becomes this jam track. It basically just becomes this jazz rock, progressive rock jam. with a lot of jazz influence. And I think that it actually works really well. I like how they kind of like throw cold water on you in the first minute, and then you're like, ah! And then after that, that kind of like, I don't know, take you and put you by a fireplace, give you a brownie, and say, eat this. And for the next 15 minutes or so, you're just staring at the fire. It's relaxing. It's warm. There's some things going on, but like you're now okay. That's actually the best way I can sum up my experience listening to Big Swifty. I think that it was so cool how all the musicians throughout this jam, like for the 15 minutes or so, I think it's so cool. And how locked in are they to be playing and jamming and soloing? But they move to me so organically and perfectly into different sections and different solos and movements in the song without even really hinting that they were going to do that. There's no foreshadowing. It's just going. There's no, this is red light, green light. There's no yellow light to tell you like, hey, red light's coming. No, this is just red light, green light. And I think that it's just really, it's really a testament to the musicianship and all the people that are playing on this particular track, how well in line they are. If I remember correctly, don't quote me, but I believe a lot of you tell me that most of Zappa's music is not really improvised. It's really composed and written. How do you compose this? To me, that's just wild. It's just wild to me. Like, yeah, I can get it, but it's just wild to me how something like this is composed and so perfectly. And not coming across as sounding rigid at all, even though you can clearly hear how tight the band is. Coming across as loose. And it does feel improvised, whether it is or not. And once again, I think that's just a huge testament to the musicians. Can I call out Ainsley Dunbar on the drums? I could not help but listen to him most of the time during that jam. The things that he's performing on the drums, to me, are just out of this world. The way that he keeps time and plays with time. The way he slows the tempo, halves the tempo, quarters the tempo, doubles the tempo. Plays with the tempo. He doesn't care. He's a tempo master. And the way that he provides that for the rest of the band, for them to play in, is just phenomenal. I love how there's always something going on in the background. Whether it's a weird sound that just appears out of nowhere. There was a moment near the first half where, to me, it almost sounded like vocals, but there was like this weird voice kind of sound that came in. I don't think it even came back at any other point. It was just in the beginning. And it was gone. That particular time when that happened, it reminded me of Gong a little bit. And then it was gone. There's always something happening in the background. Like, if you watch like a performer, like you got the main performer, and I'm talking about like a pop performance or such, and then you have the backup dancers, but all the backup dancers are all synchronized, so they're all doing the same movement. They're doing this, right? This was like the background dancers are all performing their own set. It's just like the background dancers are all doing their own moves, and they come from different things. You got one background dancer that's doing a pop and lock. You got one backup dancer that, I don't know, is doing cabaret. Like there's always someone different doing something different, and they're all in their own little world. And somehow it all comes together on stage and comes together extremely well. I love that horn section when they're both playing in unison. I want to say it's definitely in the second half. I thought that was so cool how they came into that melody. Once again, without foreshadowing, they just moves into it. And then they play this very long, I don't want to say solo, but like an extended lead, an extended melody. And they constantly play on top of each other in perfect synchronicity and perfect unison, perfect harmony. And it's not like it doesn't sound like an overly complicated melody that they're playing, but the way that they play it within this cosmic instrumentation is just fantastic. You're going to have on the trumpets, Sal Marquez, and then on the saxophone, hold on, I saw his name, but then I just lost it. Mike Astral as well. I just thought that was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Zappa, I'm listening to his guitar playing throughout a lot of this, and I like the way that he played alongside with the horns. They had quite a bit of like back and forth moments. But he actually to me, this is just me, maybe because I wasn't really listening for the guitar, but it seemed to me that he was mostly giving a lot of room to the other musicians to do their thing. You, of course, have George Duke here on all the key-related things. Just sensational. You had some slide guitar that came in from Tony Duran. That was good. That was good. Like I said, at first minute, I was scared. I was worried. But then it kind of I kind of acclimated myself to it, and it didn't make itself too hard to acclimate as well. And I know I said it during the piece, but I would say that this was actually, to me, kind of relaxing. I don't think that there was anything overly difficult listening-wise. Not at all talking about their playing. No, their playing was difficult. But like this was actually pretty... I'm not going to say tame. That's too light of a word. But it was pretty easy to get into. I guess that's what I mean. It was pretty easy to get into. Unlike the first minute, because that just threw me for a loop. Anyways, really great track. Thank you guys for the recommendation. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Should we continue on with this album? Let me know that as well. Next track is Your Mouth. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Come back tomorrow, and I'll see you all later. Bye.